So good evening. Thank you for joining me. Where are you joining from? My name is Dr. Chandus. We're talking about how pregnant women can stay healthy this Christmas. So the first question I will ask you is: are you traveling for Christmas? Are you are you traveling for Christmas? Please leave a yes or a no or a not sure in the comments. All right, so like I said, Christmas can be exciting. It can also be stressful, especially if you are pregnant. And most of the times, women are thinking about food, how to make food for their visitors, thinking about travel, they're thinking about late nights. So I want to discuss simple ways that women, especially pregnant women, can stay healthy and comfortable during the holiday. So thank you for joining us. I'm saying that I have 7 people on. If you are just joining me, are you traveling for the holidays, for the Christmas, or depending on your religion? If you're traveling, please type a yes. If you're not, type a no. If you're not sure, please type a not sure in the comments, just to show that we are following. So the first thing, I'm using my guide, that's why I'm looking this way. So the first thing I'll talk about in regards to staying healthy for pregnant women is eating. Oh, hi. Sauloya, hi. Thank you for joining. Are you traveling for the holidays? You know, where I am in Nigeria, we typically travel home. I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria, and we typically travel home for the holidays. We travel to the east for the holidays. So are you traveling anywhere? Are you going on vacation? If you're traveling, type a yes. If you're not, type a no. And if you're not sure, type a not sure so that I will know that you're with me. So the first thing I want to talk about is eating for pregnant women during Christmas. I don't know about you guys, but in Port Harcourt, where I am, Port Harcourt, Nigeria, any day from this week, there are a lot of parties, office parties, school parties, street carnivals. There's food everywhere. So the tendency for everyone is to want to indulge, to eat. There's free food. Most times you don't have to pay for anything. And then being a pregnant woman, there's this general belief that, oh, you can eat anything you like, you're eating for two and all that. And that's where I come in, to talk about eating well. The first thing I want to say is that it is better to eat in small portions than to eat a very heavy plate. I know that it's tempting because there's a lot of free food, but it is advisable for you to eat in small portions. I don't know about you guys, especially the mommies on this call. For me, when I'm pregnant, if I eat too much, like a large plate of food, I tend to have a lot of indigestion and all that. In fact, some nights I will not sleep. So the first advice I will give is that you should eat in small portions rather than heavy plates. So the next advice with regards to eating as a pregnant woman during Christmas is that we should choose grilled or baked option instead of deep fried. There's a lot of fried chicken, fried meat, fried fish. Some places do pastries. So if you're a pregnant woman, look for healthy portions. I know somebody will say that the Chandus, you're not being realistic. During holiday, this is the fried options, deep fried options are readily available, and everybody is enjoying and eating their food. So why spoil the joy, or why kill my joy? But I'm on the side of health for you and your baby. So choose the grilled and baked protein instead of the deep fried chicken and all that. So the next tip I will say or talk about is that you should add fruits and vegetables to every plate. I know somebody will say it's unrealistic, but commonly now in a lot of events, at least the events that I have attended, you find that there's always fruit served with the meals. There's often fruit served with the meals. So you can ask that you get fruit and vegetable added to your plate, or you can eat a lot of, take more of salads, than the main carbs. Our food here in Nigeria is very carb heavy, like very starch, carbohydrate heavy. So add fruits and vegetables to every plate. The next tip I want to talk about for pregnant women is to limit fizzy drinks. Around this time, there are lots of drinks, there are a lot of, soft drinks. I don't want to call commercial names, but there's an abundance of those that you do not even need to pay for. You do not need to pay for. There's a lot of abundance of this. So try to avoid fizzy drink as much as possible. Choose water. If you must take something that is not water, choose fresh juice, right? Freshly prepared juice. there are some events that actually you will find those available. And then the next tip with regards to eating during Christmas for pregnant women is avoid alcohol completely. Like, studies have shown that there's nothing like take a moderate amount or take a shot or a tot or whatever for pregnancy. There's no safe limit for alcohol in pregnancy. So it's totally not allowed because of the side effects. Because anything you eat, I want you to leave with something this evening. Anything you eat, if you do not know, I'm sure most women that are pregnant by now know what I'm talking about. If you're a pregnant woman, everything you eat, one way or the other, affects your baby, because you're sharing blood, you're sharing nutrients, you're sharing food with your baby. So you must eliminate alcohol completely from your diet if you're a pregnant woman, no matter how free or readily available it is this season. So the next thing we'll talk about for pregnant women is food safety. Now, food safety, I will tell you what that means in a minute. If you're a pregnant woman, you should know that the fact that food is available, different types of foods are available, does not mean you should eat every option you see from everywhere you see. There are some places you go to that you should not eat from, because you do not know how that food was prepared, especially if you do not know how that food was prepared. You should not eat in places where you do not know the source of the food, you do not know how hygienic the food was prepared, or who prepared the food and all that. So you must avoid food from unknown places, foods like salads, kebabs, around this environment, things like suya, right? Things like shawarma. I know these are typically things that pregnant women crave for, but try and avoid buying such things from places that you are not sure of. You must be careful of roadside meals. And then if you must eat your food, you must eat such food, ensure that it is hot, like you eat it hot. Because it's better to eat overcooked than undercooked food. At least you know that the problem you're battling with is maybe nutrient depletion and not microorganisms, right? So as much as possible, eat your food cooked or hot. Around here we tend to not have this problem so much, because in Nigeria we tend to overcook our food, overcook our meat, overcook our fish, overcook our sauce. We tend to overcook everything. So that is for food safety. So if you are just joining us, we've had several people join and leave. If you are just joining us, we've been talking about how to stay healthy as a pregnant woman during the holiday season. We've talked about how to eat. We've talked about food safety. Okay, so let me add a Q&A. Let me add a question. If you're joining us, you're welcome. We're talking about how to stay healthy as a pregnant woman this holiday period. Stroke Christmas. My name is Dr. Chandus. If you're just joining, I'm just trying to type in the sticker. Yeah. Okay, let me remove this from my face. Okay, so let me start the Q&A. All right, so if you're just joining us, are you traveling for the holiday? Type a yes or a no or a not sure. All right, so we have just talked about food safety and eating during Christmas. If you are joining us, we're talking about tips for how pregnant women can stay healthy during this holiday period, because there's a lot of stress, especially in this part of the world during the holidays, and if you're a pregnant woman, it can be really, really stressful. For those of us that were pregnant during Christmas, I had one of my babies during the Christmas period. In fact, I literally came back from the hospital like 4 days to Christmas with that baby. And it was not really funny, especially because I had that baby through a C-section. So it can be a lot of stress for mothers. So the next thing I want to talk about is for pregnant women. Something that is very important that sounds cliche. You must stay hydrated. If you are a pregnant woman, especially during this season where the weather is dry, it is dusty and hot, you must stay hydrated and aim to take at least 2 to 3 liters of water daily. I always say carry your own. The way to ensure that you drink water is to carry your own water bottle. Most persons that know me know that I carry 2 things a lot: my water bottle and my hand fan, because I sweat a lot, so I don't like heat. And then I drink a lot of water, so I'm always with a bottle of water. So carry your water bottle when you go out if you are pregnant, and ensure to keep your hydration levels up, especially if it's a very hot day and the weather is really hot. So we've had people come in and leave, and we are talking about how to stay healthy and tips for pregnant women. So we have talked about how to eat as a pregnant woman this holiday, food safety, which talks about the type of food you eat, where you eat, how safe the food is. We've also talked about the need to stay hydrated if you're a pregnant woman in this season. You know, in Nigeria, it is the hot season in Nigeria. In other parts of the world, it's really cold. But in Nigeria, this is the hottest time of the year, the driest time of the year. So it is important for you as a pregnant woman to stay hydrated. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is the need to rest and sleep this holiday. I know someone will say, oh, if I have visitors, people that came from town, people that came to visit me, am I going to sleep and leave them? Take a short nap. If you're attending some of these events, you can just do a short nap, get a few minutes of rest. There's those kind of sleep that you take for like 5 minutes and it's more restful than sleep that you have or nap that you had for hours. So get as much rest as you can. Do not stand for long hours. And if you feel like you are tired or you are overwhelmed from holiday festivities and visiting people, even when everybody is out, take a break. Take a break and excuse yourself. You can actually go home. Like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves during during the festivities. So remember that you are pregnant and you are carrying another human being. And so you need to stay. You need to get as much rest as you can. All right, so that's need for resting and sleeping this holiday. So the next thing we'll talk about, if you're joining us, you're welcome. My name is Dr. Chandus. We're talking about how to stay pregnant and how to stay healthy as a pregnant woman during the holiday season. And I've asked everyone who joined, are you traveling for the holidays? If you're traveling, please type yes. If you're not, say no. If you're not sure, type not sure. So I think I will ask the next question. We've had this one up for a while. The next question I will ask is, which holiday stress affects you the most? Which part of the Christmas or the New Year? I know some people will say, today is just December 2nd. Why are you so excited? Yes, everybody's excited during the Christmas season. There are Christmas trees or people have put up their Christmas decorations. And I thought that this is an important, because people have started the festivities. People are very eager for something that will make them happy, especially in Nigeria where things have just been going in the way we don't understand. So everybody wants that little bit of happiness that they can get. So which part of the holiday stresses you the most? Is it the cooking? Is it the visitors? Is it the noise? Is it travel? For me, I will answer my own, is the travel. I don't mind the cooking, I don't mind the visitors, I don't mind the noise, but you see the travel. I'm not a big traveler, so I think that's the most stressful part for me. So what part of the holiday stresses you out? If you are a mommy on the call, especially a pregnant mommy, please answer so that I will know that I'm not just speaking to myself. All right. So the next thing we'll talk about, we've talked about how to eat for Christmas as a pregnant woman. We've talked about food safety, that you cannot just be eating food everywhere from unknown places, no matter how nice it looks. We talked about how the importance to stay hydrated, the importance of rest and sleep, taking short naps, excusing yourself from an event if it's too stressful. We talked about the need to stay hydrated, and I asked which part of the holiday is most stressful. Is it the cooking? Is it the visitors? Is it the noise? Because there's quite a lot of noise during the holiday. You get a lot of visitors and all that. There's a lot of music everywhere. So is it the noise and is it travel? And I say for me, it's the travel. I don't mind the others. I can cope, but is it traveling? I'm not a big traveler. It's not really my thing. So the next thing I want to talk about, because we have talked about I still have a number of things to talk about. I want to see if I can stay here if I can be on this call for at least 40 minutes or 45 minutes. That would be nice. So the next thing I want to talk about with regards to tips is the need for stress control. If you're a pregnant woman, it goes without saying that you do not need stress, because especially stress hormones have a way of affecting you, whether you are pregnant or not. It has a way of affecting you, affecting your health and your activities. So what I want to say about stress is that you should reduce noise to exposure if you feel overwhelmed Say no to events if it feels draining, whether physically draining or emotional draining. You can actually say no to such events. And then you do not have to do all the cooking or the housework yourself. You can actually let it out. You can what's the word now? Please, if you know the word I'm looking for, please help me. You can give it out, like you can sublet it to a caterer. You can get relatives to help you, especially if you are pregnant. I just told us that I had one of my children during the holidays, and I came back home like 4 days to Christmas, and I still had visitors and all that. So I got help. I got help from my family members, especially in this part of the world where we are like a community. We support each other. So get help with cooking, delegate your cooking, your housework if you need to, if you have to, if you have need for it. Now I'm getting to the most important part, which for me is important because, like I said, I don't like to travel. Travel safety in pregnancy. Travel safety in pregnancy. Now, for a pregnant woman, for a car trip that is over 2 hours, you must stop and stretch your legs. And now the advisory for a woman, of course, you should see your obstetrician and get the final, get personalized recommendations and opinion, because this life is not a diagnostic life per se. It's a health education talk. So you must see your healthcare provider. So there's varying schools of thought with regards to travel at different times of pregnancy. But what I would say first is that if you are traveling and you're on a trip that's above 2 hours, stop and stretch your legs for a lot of reasons. Sit in the back seat, not the front seat, and keep your seat belt below your bump, not above your bump. Keep your seat belt. If you are pregnant, remember we're talking about how to stay healthy for pregnant women this holiday season. So if you are pregnant and you are going on a long trip, keep your sit at the back seat, not the front seat, and keep your belt below your bump. I've had 2 pregnancies where I had to travel at different times during the pregnancy and at different ages, because I was much younger for one and much older for the other one, and I saw the difference. So you must decide if you have, although now there's also varying school of thought with regards to what is a high risk pregnancy. So your doctor has the final decision on if you can travel or not during the holiday. So you must see your doctor. So avoid any last minute long travel if you're in your third trimester, for obvious reasons. If you are due to deliver maybe in a week or 2 and you want to travel from here to maybe the village, I don't think that's a wise thing to do, not because there's anything wrong with the village per se, but if you fall into labor and you are in an environment where you don't know anybody, or your skilled birth attendant who will take your delivery is not close to you, that's tantamount to sabotaging yourself. So last minute travels during third trimester is a no-no. So if you are joining us, we're talking about tips for pregnant women, how pregnant women can stay healthy, and we're talking about travel safety in pregnancy. I've just told us that if you are pregnant in your third trimester, you should avoid last minute long trips, and in fact you should avoid them for obvious reasons, like I said. So the next thing, if you are on this live, say hi so that I can know that I'm not alone. All right, so the next thing we'll talk about is the need to prevent infections. Now during the holiday, we meet a lot of people, you greet a lot of people, you shake hands, you touch a lot of formites, touch a lot of surfaces. So there is actually need for you to prevent infections as a pregnant woman. So you should wash your hands. Hand hygiene, people underestimate hand hygiene, but hand hygiene is a very effective method of prevention, right? It's actually quite effective. So wash your hands often, especially during gatherings, or you can carry a hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizers are still very, very valid and still useful. So if you are in a large gathering, wash your hands or carry hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with sick people because you're pregnant. If you're pregnant, we don't want you mixing up with persons who can potentially give you an infection, right? Because we do not want any infection that can sabotage your pregnancy. So avoid close contact with sick people and crowded places. because there are some conditions that thrive in overcrowding and poor ventilation. So avoid such places. If you find that you feel feverish or weak, please get it checked out immediately, because we do not want anything spreading to your baby or sabotaging your pregnancy. All right, so we have been here for a little while talking about how to stay safe, how to be healthy in pregnancy. And we have talked about a number of things. We have talked about eating during pregnancy, food safety. We've talked about the need to stay hydrated. We've talked about rest and sleep. We've talked about stress control in pregnancy. We've talked about travel safety. We have also talked about preventing infections in pregnancy. So now, let us now talk about what to do when you get to an event. You're a pregnant woman and you have no choice. You have to attend an event, maybe a funeral of a relative, or a party, a birthday, or a Christmas party. How do you conduct yourself? Choose well ventilated spots. Always look out for areas where you have air, big windows, or if it's an open air event, if there's room for outside sitting, target those places and sit down in those places, so that you can get ventilation, you can get air, you can reduce the likelihood of you being hot, overheating, becoming dehydrated and all that. Avoid smoky kitchens, smoky generators. Let's not even talk about smoking, people that smoke cigarettes and all that. You should avoid any source of secondary smoking. So avoid firewood smoke and all that. Do not lift any heavy objects or help with any stressful hosting. This is not the time to be doing superwoman. If you take a break this holiday, next holiday you can be back to help them and show them your cooking skills or your excellent hosting ability. So this is not the time to be lifting heavy objects if you are pregnant, and this is not the time to be doing anything stressful. Everybody excuses a pregnant woman. Like, we understand that it's not easy to carry another life. So no sane person is expecting a pregnant woman to be carrying heavy objects or to be doing stressful hosting. Anybody who does that does not have milk of human kindness, especially if they have experienced pregnancy themselves. So now that we have talked about what to do at an event for a pregnant woman this holiday, I want to talk about the warning signs that you should look out for this holiday, especially if you are not close to your healthcare provider. What are some warning signs that you can look out for? So I want to, before I move on to this, because I'm getting close to the end of what I want to say. I think I've done close to 30 minutes. I have asked us different questions. So the next question I want to ask is, would we prefer a separate live on Christmas food choices in pregnancy? Like, what would you like to see me do? I want to see if I can do more lives. I realize that it's something that I don't really do on this page, and that's not good for engagement. The idea is that you want to, if I have a community, I should be able to reach out to them, speak with them, and form a bond with my community. So would you like another live on this Christmas related content, still in this niche? If yes, please drop it in the comment section, depending on when you watch it. I know there are some people that will watch this later. I intend to make this a members only live video, so I encourage everybody to watch this now, because by the time you come back, it may be, because I'm trying to build my community as well. So do you want a separate live video, yes or no, that discusses this Christmas related content? So let's move. What are the warning signs that as a pregnant woman you need to look out for this holiday? The first one is severe headache. Find that you have severe headache plus or minus other symptoms. That's an alarm system that can mean several things, and that's a sign that you may need to see your obstetrician or whoever is managing your pregnancy. Abdominal pain can mean a lot of things in pregnancy. So I always say in pregnancy, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better I go to the hospital and they tell you, madam, relax, there's nothing wrong, you're okay, your baby is okay, than you stay at home and then you say, but this thing gave me sign, I just ignored it. You will not forgive yourself if you do that. So abdominal pain is a sign that you may need to see whoever is managing your pregnancy. Reduced baby movement. As a mother, you know, with time, at least that's how it is for all women. It was like that for me when I had my children. After a while, you understand the routine of your baby. You know, you start to know that, oh, from by 11 the baby, you know, starts to make some moves around. By so time he rests. And but when you stay for a long time and you find that you're not feeling your baby move, or there's reduced movement, you should be worried, and it's a sign that you may need to check it out. Like I said, it's better you go to the hospital and they tell you there's nothing wrong than you go to the hospital and then they tell you, madam, why didn't you come? When last did you feel your baby? And you say 2 days ago, madam, you did not even come. You will not forgive yourself. So the next thing is bleeding for obvious reasons. Bleeding for obvious reasons can mean a lot of things. So that's a sign, a clear sign that you need to see. You need to be in a hospital or where your pregnancy. You need to be in a hospital where your pregnancy is being monitored. High fever could be a sign of infection and a sign that you need to also see your healthcare provider urgently. So if you are pregnant with a fever this season, you need to see your healthcare provider. Swollen face, swollen hands, swollen. That's a sign that you need. It might be one of a lot of things, but that is a sign that you need to see your healthcare provider. If you find that you're pregnant and you have blurring of vision, that's a sign that you need. That's a warning sign. So these are signs that as a pregnant woman, you should look out for. If you begin to experience them this season, might be a sign that there's something wrong and you need to check it out. Things like severe headache, repeat again, the signs: severe headache, abdominal pain, reduced baby movement or fetal movement, bleeding, high fever, blurring of vision, swollen limbs, swollen hands, swollen digits. These are signs, they are warning signs that tell you that there may be a problem and that you need to see your healthcare provider. So let us talk about, I think I'm rounding up, this will be my last point on this live. Let us talk about mental well-being. Mental well-being during Christmas. Now this is very important because there's a lot of things that happen during holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. You find that, you know, some persons that you do not see all year, you may be forced to come face to face with them. Some closed wounds, you may be forced to deal with closed wounds during holidays like this, right? And it has a way of taking its toll on your mental health. There are a lot of expectations during the holiday for a pregnant or a non-pregnant woman, or even man. You find that people have a lot of expectations. They believe when you come back, you should come with some kind of, you know, at least come back with some money, come back. There are a lot of expectations during the holiday. People are expecting you to do things for them. You are expecting people to do things for them. All these things have a way of taking their toll on the mental health of any individual. So you must guard yourself. You must check yourself. Holidays can bring a lot of pressure, and you need to check in with yourself constantly if you're a pregnant woman. Avoid comparing yourself with other people. That is something that I do not do. I don't know how God helped me to get to that state of mind where I don't compare myself with anyone, and I try to be content with what I have. So do not compare yourself with others. You do not know what they are going through. You do not know what's really happened or really is really happening in their life. So don't compare yourself with anybody. If you feel like you are sad, overwhelmed, or you don't understand what is going on, ask for help. There are a lot of options and resources available now for pregnant women. I wish I could get questions, but I don't see anybody live anymore. We have talked about how to stay healthy. We've talked about 30 minutes. I plan to stay for 30 minutes, and I think I've achieved that. We have talked about how to stay healthy. How pregnant women can stay healthy this Christmas. We talked about how to eat, food safety, how to stay hydrated. You need to rest and sleep. You need to manage stress. You need for travel safety, preventing infections, what to do at events, you know, warning signs that you need care this season, and how to protect our mental well-being. So I want to sign out at this point. Let me not take further time because I intend to keep this as that. I intend for people to come back and watch this. So I want to thank everybody who joined. There are lots of people joining and leaving, and I look forward to doing more of this. And I hope that I was even heard, because there's no way I can tell unless I watch the video later. I'll see you guys soon. Please, my name is Dr. Chandus. I create content